Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back. From Fox News, Jonathan Turley says FBI's involvement in alleged theft of Ashley Biden's diary raises legitimate concern. The FBI raided the home of Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe over his, air quotes, stolen diary belonging to President Biden's daughter. Now, I'm going to go through this briefly. There's also a video where Sean Hannity interviews James O'Keefe and James's attorney. It's amazing. The FBI on Sunday raided the home of Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe as part of a federal investigation into a quote-unquote stolen diary of President Biden's daughter, Ashley Biden. The New York Times reported that raid took place early Saturday morning, just days after the homes of two Project Veritas associates were also subject of search warrants. And by the way, within, I think it was an hour or 2 hours of that raid from the FBI to Project Veritas reporters, the New York Times called them and wanted to comment. How do they find out? Things that make you go, why would the FBI coming in on this? Yeah, good question. Project Veritas said didn't run the information. You'll see from James. I can't play too much of the video. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but O'Keefe addressed the incident on Monday, explaining that tipsters that approached his group last spring allegedly had Ashley Biden's diary containing explosive allegations about her father, then the Democratic nominee. Well, that would have been the end of the Biden campaign right there. True or not. The diary was allegedly abandoned in a room where she stayed. The tipsters claimed and they stayed in the same room afterwards where they found the diary. Now, James O'Keefe says he never knew the tipsters or the source, wasn't familiar with them. I guess they negotiated back and forth through their attorney based on money. I mean, they want to sell it, right? And they did some checking, and they couldn't verify if the diary was genuine. So after a while, they said, you know what, we can't print this. Now, this is before the election. This is last year. And so they tried to turn it in. I guess it was local law enforcement. I'm not sure if they went to the sheriff's department there locally. I don't remember where James lives, nor does it matter. And I guess they wouldn't take it. They wanted no part of it. Somehow they got it back to federal agencies. I don't know the details. I mean, they could have very well have made photocopies or photographic copies of the whole entire diary and then turned it in. But they kept it to themselves. They didn't even leak out that the diary existed, which is kudos to them. A lot of people asked at that time, why would the FBI be involved in that if it's true? If that's true, it does raise questions about the promise made by the Biden administration that is going to be more careful when dealing with media figures. Now, here's the short clip from James O'Keefe, his lawyer, on Sean Hannity.
In any form of journalism or in the press in any capacity, whether you're a talk show host like me or doing what you do or doing what anybody else does. In the course of doing your work, you have sources, correct? You have whistleblowers. You have people giving you tips all the time. To what extent can you tell us the context under which you were given this diary? I assume you did not take the diary yourself, did you not? Is that correct?
That's correct. I'll speak to that, Sean.
Now, let's just follow this. If we say what James O'Keefe is true, he got a call from a source. They had a diary, physically had it, said it was not stolen. They were negotiating through an attorney, through James's attorneys, and probably other media organizations as well. Maybe even Fox, who knows? And they agreed on a payment amount. I'm sure there's some stipulations, and they realized they could not confirm it was Ashley Biden's diary. So the deal was never consummated. So James, knowing that it belonged to somebody else, maybe he knew it was stolen, maybe he didn't. But he knows that it belongs to Ashley Biden or whoever it belongs to, went to local law enforcement agency and said, here's the diary, blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't take the diary. They wouldn't take it. And so eventually, I'm not sure what law enforcement agency you went to, and they eventually got it back. And that was a year ago, which would have killed the Biden campaign. You thought the Hunter Biden laptop story was bad. And that turns out to be 110% credible. Some of the stuff that's in it. What's with the Biden family leaving stuff laying around? You leave a very personal and detailed diary in a room, and then Hunter Biden leaves his laptop at the repair shop past the time where he can claim it, so now it belongs to the repair shop by law and by agreement? What's with these people laying around? This is the part I don't get. I just don't get it. And then here we are a year later. A few days ago, two Veritas reporters had their homes or apartments, whatever, raided. They probably grabbed their iPhones like James. There's probably some computer stuff. But here's the really diabolical part of all this. They grabbed two of iPhones from James, he says. And in it, of course, are notes from stories they're working on, from whistleblowers, not breaking any laws, and their names, information, and probably, I'm sure, and he said, well, the name of the source of the diary was also in there. Now the FBI has that. And something about crossing state lines and something else was on the warrant. It's really vague on what the charges are. You got to put the reason why you have the warrant to search on the warrant. And the lawyer basically says, I can't figure out what he's being charged with. So I don't know. But make it even worse, the donor list. The donor list, Project Veritas, to their legal fund that's helping other people sue, is on there as well. Are those people going to be targeted? This is unbelievable. My opinion, and I'm just a guy, my opinion is they're panicking. This came out of the blue. Well, the diary didn't come out of the blue. They knew about it a year ago. But these things are coming out of the blue, and they're getting pressure. And I said this before. This deep state, these wounded animals, it's like a gigantic, powerful animal that's wounded. And in pain, they're going to lash out. I feel bad about James going to go through. It's going to cost him a crap load of money to get through this, to find out nothing. Information on upcoming stories are on there. Are those all going to be killed now? This is a huge deal. This is a tremendous deal. And what is the FBI going to do with that information? Are they going to start going after individuals one by one? If every single person on that donor list now is going to be audited by the IRS for the last 10 years? Even if you're found not to owe any money, it costs you a fortune for attorneys and accountants. They kill you with the process, not the charges. Like when Adam Schiff has ruined lives. It was the one individual, I think, on the January 6th so-called committee that had to spend his entire savings, he was older, his retirement savings for attorneys to appear before the congressional committee. And then his daughter, who gave up drugs a few years back, relapsed because of the pressure that her father and the media was putting them under. She relapsed. He had to put a second mortgage on his house, or a mortgage on his house, to pay for her rehab. This is what they do. They can destroy people financially. You say, well, John, it's only money. Well, yeah, you're right. It's only money. Money buys housing. Money buys food. Money buys the things that people normally need to live, and they worked really hard their whole lives to get it. And they have to spend $400, $500, $600, $700 an hour for attorneys. It's crazy. So what's going to happen now? Knowing they have the donor list, people aren't going to give again or give it all to Project Veritas. They're trying to cut off their funding. I don't know. I've given the Project Veritas. I gave to them when they got flooded out because I think they do good work. So that means I'm next. Come on. There are probably hundreds of thousands of people that gave. They're all going to go get audited by the IRS? I don't know what's going to happen. But I will say this. I don't really truly believe that every single agent in the FBI is corrupt. I don't accept that because, frankly, logically, it makes zero sense. I think it's the higher-ups. And crap rolls downhill, as they say. But I appeal to anybody by the slim fluke 1,001 chance that anybody in the FBI is still there that took the oath when they started to protect and serve. I took an oath when I was a city councilman to uphold the Constitution of the United States and protect it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, now we're domestic enemies. Those few people, and I'd like to think there's more than half probably in the number of actual on-the-ground FBI agents that are damn good people and patriots. You're going to have to start talking. How you're going to do that? In a legal way. How you're going to do it anonymously? I really don't know. But these people can't keep getting away with this. This is obviously done. And I'll tell you the truth. I don't think Joe Biden even knew zero about it. It's funny how nothing has been mentioned about Ashley Biden's diary for an entire year, which means James and the people in his organization didn't leak it. Interesting. And even the law enforcement agency that James brought the diary to didn't leak it. Of course, the FBI wouldn't leak it because that will go against Joe Biden. There's something going on here. And I think the powers that be, the bad people in the deep state, are panicking. They're panicking, and like I said, a powerful wounded animal will lash out. How this unfolds over time and how much this hurts Project Veritas's money coming in. They're considered a 501c3 nonprofit. Their revenue is going to take us probably a serious hit, which means their effectiveness will too. But I got to say this, though. I'll tell you the truth. I think they picked the wrong guy in James O'Keefe. He's got a hell of a set on him, I'll tell you. And Tim Pool said the same thing, and I think James O'Keefe thinks the same thing. If I end up flat broke, living in a RV somewhere on the riverbank, I really don't care. As long as I beat these guys. As long as I tell the truth and the bad guys are punished. We'll see what happens. Who's next? Guys like me? For even talking about it? This is stuff in the old Soviet Union. This is dangerous stuff. And I think, frankly, this steps us closer and closer and closer to dividing this country, and not just politically, but physically. That's what they want. I don't think it is, but that's exactly what's happening. Nobody trusts their institutions anymore. Nobody trusts. I can't say, last year what happened in November, nobody trusts. Can't use the words. Nobody trusts the FBI, the CIA, sometimes local law enforcement, sheriff's departments, governors, state police. When people stop believing in the institutions of their city, state, county, country, is when the unraveling happens. Are they doing this to unravel the country? No, I don't. I think they're doing this to cover their own behinds and cover the backs of corrupt politicos that have corrupted the system totally right down to the core. But I still believe the vast majority of agents are good. Now it's time to step up. As you see behind there with James and his attorney, as Project Veritas is saying, and I'm appealing to people in government, in the FBI, to a chance to hear this. Be brave. Do something. There's a lot at stake, and it's worth saving. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.